Hey guys, Onyx here. Today we're going to be doing a discussion and my thoughts on the new Israeli ground forces tech tree coming into War Thunder's newest update, Wind of Change. So let's talk about the first tank you unlock, the M51. It's a battle rating. It's going to have a battle rating of 6.0 from what they show. And by the way, this is in the War Thunder dev server. I believe it's active all the way up until March 14th, and it ends March 14th ends at 6 GMT. I'm not sure what it is. You might have to do that yourself. So let's dive into the M51, the first tank you unlock in the tree. So this tank has a cast iron hull. Has cast iron, I'm not sure of it, but it's got a cast hull. It's pretty much going to play just similarly to the M51 you have in the premium section. It's got the same gun, same rounds, except it's not like, flat, angled armor. This one's like more rounded. So it's pretty much going to play, similarly to the M51 you have in the premium section. And I'm not gonna lie, from what I've seen in battle and what I've seen other content creators have basically shown about this vehicle has some potential to actually help you get to those higher tiers, but to me it looks more like a fun tank to play. So this will definitely be this was a really good idea on Gaijin's part to basically make it the one tank you start off with. So that's like plus on that. So let's move down into the Magog 1. So you're pretty much going to be familiarized with this vehicle, which it basically is an M48, that you see in the German tree, in the US tree, in the Chinese tree. The M48's pretty much everywhere already. Almost everywhere. So, of course, it's just going to play similar to the M48. It's going to have the very, very terrible stock grind, since you have to use the APCR to get into, the M82, then to get to the M4, 3-1 heat round. So it's going to be very, very tedious to play. The stock grind on this is, very lacking. I kind of wish that Gaijin would have just ignored the APCR round. Especially, this is to go for all M48s. Get rid of the APCR, should give them the M82 shot to at least use, so they actually have a potential, and to make the stock grind on these vehicles so tedious. So my thoughts on this vehicle is it's just going to play like a normal M48. So if you played it in the US tech tree, the German tech tree, and in the Chinese tech tree, then you pretty much would already know how to play this Magog 1 in the Israeli tree. Moving on to the Magog 2. Now wait a minute. You may say, well, this is another M48. Yes, it is. And there's no difference. It's the same stinking stock grind as the last one. So you're pretty much given two M48s that you need to grind through and go through that very terrible stock grind, So my thoughts on it is still the exact same thing, except this one you can actually research the rangefinder a lot sooner, so you can get those long range shots in. So that that's one good thing. Oh, this is Merkaba doesn't know where he's going. Sorry, I'm getting a little off track here. So yeah, back to this. It's just going to be the same thing. This is just the same M48. Moving down into the Magog 6, your first 7.7, since the other two were like 7073. So this is a M60. It's equivalent to the American M60 in the US tech tree. So it has that 105. It has the same shells, the Sabo, the heat shell, the Hesh, the smokes. And one thing too I did want to mention, I forgot to mention it to both M48s, but if you notice that those two didn't have smoke launchers, neither does this one. So you have to use smoke shells to basically cover your approach, or allied or friends approaches. So pretty much it's gonna play the same thing, like the same way as the M60. Instead of the little 30 cal machine gun, you still got like two low caliber machine guns here, and then one down and one coaxial to it. So it's pretty much going to fire the same rounds, except the survivability may be a little bit better because of the way the upper plate is. So this one will be kind of a good one. My thoughts on it is just like I said, it just plays like normal M60. So, you know, you're kind of seeing the pattern of these vehicles being more copy and paste, but it's just the same vehicle over and over and over if you're going down the M51 line. See, like this one. Now, you know, when I first saw this vehicle, I thought, okay, so they're getting an M60 AOS. I was wrong when I saw what was wrong with it. So this is not an M60 AOS. Even though this thing sits at a battle rate 8.0, the downfall about this vehicle is it gets no gun stabilizer. So you're pretty much playing it the same way as the Italian M60 A1 DC Ariete in the Italian tech tree. You're pretty much playing the same way. No stabilizer. You have to sit there and let the gun realign itself when you brake and all that. Watch the gun just jump up and down in your sight. So pretty much it's gonna play the exact same way. It's going to play the exact same way, except this time you get a little bit of an extra 50 caliber machine gun to actually at least help you tear through low flying helicopters, BMPs, you know, such like squishy like light armored targets. So that's a plus. I would give it that. It will help you kill, like, you know, squishier targets, helis, BMPs, basically other light tanks, and even low-flying planes. But, you know, it still gets the same shots, the M78, the M728, the M456, you know, heat and saber rounds. So, moving on to the final Magog, you got the Magox 6B. This is pretty much an M60 AOS with the, you know, the Blazer ERA that's found on the Magog 3. And on the plus side of this vehicle, it gets smoke launchers, so hey, at least when you get shot, you can smoke up and retreat. But yet again, you know, it's just the same platform, the M60. So you get that little, you know, that 150 caliber, then you lose the other one because you have to put it in for the little, you know, 7.62. But I mean, at least you'll be able to withstand some heat rounds. But another thing too, and this is gonna usually make a lot of people mad. This kind of made me mad when I first saw it. Is this is another 8.0 vehicle that does not have a gun stabilizer. You know, but this one gets access to a dart round, so, you know, gets access to the M111 shell, but it's tier 4 modifications. So you're stuck playing with heat rounds, you know, for a little bit until you can get to it. So, moving on down to the light tank line, down the main line that everybody kind of wants to go for, you know, from the AMX-13 to the Merkaba Mark II B. So, I'm not really going to showcase these two vehicles because we all pretty much know what they look like. You know, it's just the same AMX-13 in the French tech tree and the AML-90 in the French tech tree. It's the same thing. The shot is a Israeli Centurion Mark Iii. So, it's going to play the exact same thing. You know, this one will have the stabilizer on it. At the same time, you do get a very good 50 caliber machine gun on the roof here to at least, you know, deliver death to all light tanks and low flying helis if you get to the up tier with this thing. So it's gonna fire the same shells out of the 84. It's gonna fire the, you know, the Shot Mark 1, the Shot Mark 3, or basically the APC BC round, the solid shot, and then the Sabo round with some smoke rounds to basically cover your approaches. So my thought on that would be it's just gonna play like a Centurion basically. So this one's a very interesting vehicle. It's called, I can't really pronounce the name of it. It's called the Tyran. I don't know how to really pronounce it. You know, if you're Israeli and you know how to pronounce that, just please let me down in the comments below. Just don't hate me if I butchered that. So this is a T-54, you know, the first Soviet tank in this entire tech tree. but it doesn't get access to the 100 millimeter smoothbore gun that the Soviets get. I can't remember. No, actually I don't know if the T-54 is a smoothbore. I'm not sure, but it doesn't get access to a 100 millimeter. This one gets a 105 M68, which is the same gun you see on the M60. So it'll get the access to the same rounds, you know, the Sabo and the heat rounds. But at least your profile is a little lower, since that's how since all T-54s are kind of a little bit lower in profile compared to the M60s being, you know, way the hell up there. So like, you know, when you kind of walk around a rock and they see your turret and be like, hey, shoot me please. So it's pretty much the same thing as the normal T-54, just with an American gun. So pretty much, just to break it down, Russian tech with American gun. And it'll be very interesting to see in combat, you know, what its potential is, you know, especially at 7.7. So moving on to the next vehicle, we're gonna go, instead of going straight down like we did with the Magox line, we're gonna go off to the right here. So the Zaklam Tiger, like I said, I can't really pronounce these Israeli names sometimes. So you've probably seen this already in the War Thunder news about it, or in, you know, dev blogs about this little half track. Now, what's really interesting about this vehicle, and I'm going to mention this now, two things actually I'm going to mention. These are basically the SS11s, the same ones you were going to find on the Rakuten Yak Panzer, which is, I think it's this one. It's going to be the same rockets you're going to see on this vehicle, just on this little guy. Another thing too is this whole launcher, it does not traverse left nor right. The only thing this launcher is able to do is move up and down. Yeah, up and down only. So pretty much you'd have to not only will you have to manually guide this, but you have to turn the whole vehicle towards your target to basically let one of these ATGMs go loose. So this, but yet again, I would say this is a very interesting vehicle to see in the game, especially at 7.7. But I probably will hardly see this vehicle out. People are just probably going to research it and then just pass it on, because this thing's probably going to be very tough to play, since you can't rotate the launcher and you only can move it up or down. So I don't know. We shall see when the update goes live. Moving on to the Hobbit. Now, this is just basically an M163. You know, just the plain old M163 that you have in the American tech tree. So pretty much plays the same. My thoughts on it: another copy and paste vehicle coming in from the U.S. tech tree to the Israeli tech tree. So moving on to the Magog. Now this vehicle, I got to see it a little bit in a custom battle on the dev server. This is actually a very, very interesting vehicle. So it's basically an M163 with a missile launcher on it. Now this missile launcher is in fact a Stinger launcher, so you're basically firing the FM92E rounds, or rock missiles, that you basically get on the Ocelot and on the new incoming vehicle, the LAV AD. I will do a review on that. I will do a my thought video on that one, let you know what I think of that vehicle coming into War Thunder. Is going to be broken or not. But this thing at 9.3, I could see this being at 9.0, around 9.3. It would be very interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you, the M168 Cannon, the 20 millimeter on this thing is not bad at all. Especially now that you have, you know, it's like 4 stingers to fire off. It increases its anti-air potential. So you could pretty much deal with, you know, helicopters and stuff, you know, say the same as you would with the Gatling gun. But if they're a little bit out there and you can't really hit them from a distance, you can just use your stingers. So it's pretty much going to have the same survivability as the M163, but like I said, the plus is it's got the Stinger launcher to help its anti-air capability, which I think really is very interesting that the Israelis did this vehicle. So my thought on it is, it's going to be an very interesting vehicle to see in the game for sure, and I can't wait to see what players are going to do with this vehicle in the live, server when the update decides to drop. Now, moving on to the first medium tank, really, besides the Magog, is the Shock Cow Gimlet, or the Gimel, what do you want to call it? So you're pretty much saying to yourself, well, this is just a Shock Cow Delayed, the same one we have in the British tree. Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much the same thing, except it doesn't got the little tire ring on the front. So it gets access to the same, Blazer ERA on it, and it also gets access to the same shell as the M111. So pretty much just same old, Shock Cow Delayed, plays same way, just a different name at battle rate 8.3. So that's that. And then moving on to the Merkaba Mark 1B. This vehicle is, in fact, I do see this vehicle. I believe the Mark 1B is in the US tech tree. Yes, it is. So it's pretty much these two Merkabas here, copied and pasted in here. So if you own one of these, then you'd pretty much be familiarized in how to play these vehicles, which, we all knew this was going to happen, really, with both, Merkabas coming in from the US tech tree into the Israeli tech tree. Same thing with the Shock Cow Delayed coming into, the Israeli tree, and then the Magog 3, same thing, but I'm kind of curious to see when they do decide to start moving more vehicles, if the Shock Cow and the Magog are going to move into being at least tier 5s. Maybe the Magog might be a tier 5, and then the Shock Cow Delayed might be a tier 6. So I'm not 100% sure, but to be very, very thoughtful on this tech tree, this is a very small tech tree, because you have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 vehicles to research. Just to go through. My best guess, and what I would recommend most players should do, but this is all based on your personal preference. I would recommend going down the AMX 13 line instead of going down the Magog line, because if you really don't want to suffer, the stock grinds on the Magog 1 and 2, firing APCR at your enemies and not doing pretty much anything, you're better off basically firing 75 millimeter, solid shots and heat at your enemies with the AMX 13 and the AML 90, and then using a Sable round out of a Centurion to get into a T54. So this tech tree will probably be easy to grind. One easy way I would say to grind it is basically once you get to the shot, at least use the shot to help you get into the Magog 1 and 2, because if you look at the rewards of the vehicle, it's a little less than the Magog 2, but pretty much just use vehicles that you're going to be comfortable with. You should be able to get this tree done within a day, or not really a day. I'd say like maybe a week, a month. I'm not sure. It all depends on how you play. So this tech tree is pretty small, and you need 5 vehicles for each tier. So really, my whole general thought on this Israeli tech tree, I feel like it's not finished yet. I feel like Gaijin is still trying to dig and see what more vehicles they can find for this tech tree, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot out there that they have, that they could add. Like, for instance, you could add the Merkaba, Mark III, in here. You can bring the one in the American tech tree in here. Not to mention too, to finish with the Magog line, you can add the Magog 7 as well too. It's just a beefed up, Magog, tank. Just I'm hoping with a stabilizer on it. So anyways, that was my general thought on this tech tree. If you did like it, smash. If you liked it, like the video and whatnot. So my name's Linus, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching the video, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.